All right. Looks like we're live. Let me get my screen share so everybody can see what's going on. Should probably put it in present mode. All right. So, hello everyone out in live stream land. Thank you so much for being here with us. For everyone who logged on before 5 o'clock, you've already heard this a couple times, but I'm Josie. I'm the program manager at Flywheel Social Enterprise Hub, and it has been my absolute privilege to coordinate this program over the past 6 weeks. We really wish you could all be here with us at Union Hall, but we're so happy to have you tuning in from wherever you are. Before we get into tonight's activities, I want to take a few moments to reflect on everything that brought us to this point. So, a few months ago, we made a decision to take about twice as many companies as we normally do in about half the time in the middle of an international pandemic. And it was a huge undertaking, but ultimately it was one of the best decisions we've ever made. When I say these founders dialed in, I don't mean they dialed in for our Zoom meetings. I mean that they put every bit of their hearts and minds into this program, and tonight you're going to see all of their hard work pay off. Our 8 startups over the past 6 weeks were supported by 18 dedicated mentors, 10 high impact contributors, and 10 sponsors from across the ecosystem. Altogether, we spent the past few weeks sprinting towards one common goal: a more sustainable region and a more sustainable planet. I guess that's kind of 2 goals. Now, it's pretty typical at events like this to talk about how important our sponsors are and how much we appreciate their support. And that's definitely true, but these are not your typical sponsors. In this program, they took it to the next level. So first, I'd like to thank our event sponsor, PNC Bank, for their contribution to make this event possible. PNC is not only committed to sustainable operations with ambitious goals, but they also offer opportunities for their clients to make investments with impact in mind, which is something that is really important to us. Our lead sponsor, the Kroger Company Zero Hunger, Zero Waste Foundation, has been an incredible collaborator and a source of support as we built and operated this program. They're a huge role model both locally and nationally for innovation and sustainability. Our program sponsors, Procter & Gamble and Nestle USA, also model sustainability on the big co level and provided critical support for the program. Finally, our impact sponsors went above and beyond to share their resources, expertise, and enthusiasm with our founders. Beyond financial support, they provided coaching, connection, and direct encouragement to these companies, which meant so much over the past couple weeks. As we know really well in Cincinnati, it takes an ecosystem to grow a startup, and we're lucky enough to be situated in one of the most collaborative ecosystems in the country. It might surprise you that Cincinnati has such a strong foothold in the sustainability space, but the partnerships that drove this program are clear evidence of our regional leadership. This is the first time we've run a program as a team effort between multiple capacity builders. Working with HCDC and Centrifuge took our game to the next level. We can't thank them enough for their contributions to the program and look forward to working with them on the next one. Speaking of contributions, we also experienced an incredibly strong response from local community and civic organizations. Intuitively, I think we knew that sustainability was an increasingly important challenge in this region and beyond. But the way our contributors and the community rallied around us and these startups was inspirational. So we thank them so much for all the energy and time they invested in supporting our startups. Okay. So now that we've all gained an appreciation for the teamwork and effort that brought us here, let's talk about what you can expect this evening. We have 8 fabulous startups here to pitch their ventures to you. They will each have 5 minutes to present, followed by 2 minutes of Q&A from our judges. When the pitches wrap up, our judges will move off screen to deliberate, and we'll have a fireside chat with renowned sustainability expert and futurist, John Picard. Really excited about that. And then finally, after our fireside chat wraps up, we'll bring our judges back and close things out with 5 awards. So we have the Judges Awards, first, second, and third place. We have a Peer Choice Award, and we have the Audience Choice Award. So this is where we're gonna get a little interactive. In the description of the YouTube video and in the chat, as I think Navi is gonna pop it in a few times, we have a Google form that you can use to vote for your favorite pitch. The Audience Choice Award comes with a $1,000 prize, so don't vote lightly. Listen closely to all the pitches and vote for your favorite to win. So speaking of awards and judges, I'd like to introduce our 12 individuals who are evaluating the startups at tonight's event. They represent some of Cincinnati's best and brightest in the sustainability, social impact, and entrepreneurship spaces. We are so happy to have them and really excited to hear their questions for our 8 companies. This group really represents the collaboration that drives progress in our ecosystem. You can see the variety of organizations represented here, the diversity. We're so happy to have them. So I think it's easy to think of events like this as an ending because it comes at the close of a program. We're celebrating their success and all the hard work that has gotten these startups here. But in reality, it's a beginning. It's the beginning of Cincinnati's rise to the top of the sustainability space and all of these ventures' journey to grow and create a more sustainable planet. So without further ado, I think it's time to get these pitches underway. Kicking us off tonight, we have a team that comprises some of Cincinnati's nonprofit and social impact superstars. Coached by Joan Kaup and Dan Poston, they are going that last mile to reduce both food waste and hunger in our community. Introducing Last Mile Food Rescue.
Okay, be honest with me. Have you ever forgotten about that container of strawberries you purchased from the grocery store? It gets hidden in the back of the fridge and goes moldy before you find it again. Or how about that pound of Chipotle chicken breast that was on sale at the deli that your family now says is too spicy to eat? This happens to me a lot. If you feel badly about your weekly refrigerator purge like I do, just imagine what goes on at your local grocery store. I am Eileen Budo, the Chief Operating Officer at Last Mile Food Rescue. I'm sure you've all heard the statistics. 40% of all the food produced in this country is wasted, while 1 in 6 are hungry. I want to tell you about a simple idea that solves 2 big challenges: food waste and food insecurity, and what you can do to help. A lot of the produce in the grocery store actually never makes it off the shelf and into a consumer shopping cart. And if it doesn't go home with a consumer, where do you think it goes? I recently visited a produce distributor. That's a company that buys directly from growers and delivers it to grocers and restaurants. And I was overwhelmed with the amount of produce being thrown away because it didn't meet a grocer's quality standard. Maybe it wasn't the right size or had small blemishes or bumps, or maybe it was just ripe. I would certainly feed that produce to my family if it was in my kitchen. In Hamilton County, we landfill over 1 million tons per year, and 22% of it is food waste. So that means we're throwing away the equivalent of 22,000 trash trucks worth of food. That's enough to circle completely around I-275 2 times. Just think of the amount of wasted water, land, and labor that went into producing all that food. If food waste was a country, it would be the 3rd largest emitter of greenhouse gas behind China and the US. This makes me so angry. We have so many people in our city who are hungry. About 115,000 people in the city of Cincinnati are food insecure, and over 35,000 of these are children. And these numbers are all statistics before COVID. In greater Cincinnati, 19% of the population are now facing food insecurity. So why is 40% of our food getting wasted? And 1 in 5 residents of Cincinnati are going hungry. The generators of all this surplus food, the grocers, the distributors, they don't want to dump it. They want to get this good food to those who can eat it, but you see, there's a transport problem. They don't currently have a way to efficiently get it to the hungry. And let's face it, trash collectors make landfilling a much easier solution by sending their trucks on a regular basis. That's why we created Last Mile Food Rescue. We interrupt that trip to the dump and get the good, fresh food to people who need it most. Last Mile Food Rescue is mobilizing all the generous people we have in Cincinnati and leveraging technology, volunteers' cars, and a food rescue hero app to address that food transport problem. We're a very small nonprofit with practically unlimited capacity. Think of us as the Uber of food rescue. Our app identifies food available from the businesses that would have wasted it, and our volunteers get it to those who will eat it, point to point. Now, you might think that the Free Store Food Bank is doing this, but a food bank specializes in distributing large quantities of food from their depot. It comes in, it gets inventoried, and then it gets distributed. They can't deal with the perishable nature of the food that we can rescue. The food we rescue doesn't go into a storage depot because it needs to be used soon. Our food rescue heroes bring that food quickly to those who will eat it now. Last Mile Food Rescue and our Food Rescue Hero app is part of the largest coordinated volunteer food transport network in the US today. We mobilize volunteers, we rescue good food, and we deliver it to nonprofits serving those facing food insecurity. Now, if you have a car, a smartphone, and 60 minutes to spare, you can make an impact and end food insecurity in our city. Downloading the app is very easy. Pick up your phone now. Open up your app store and download Last Mile Food Rescue. Sign up and complete a safety training. You can then claim a rescue from a local grocer, restaurant, or company with food available in your neighborhood at a time that suits your schedule. And you deliver it to the nonprofit we've identified who can make the best use of it. So many people don't know how to help. Last Mile Food Rescue provides a way to help those most in need in a low contact, COVID safe manner. In just 1 hour, you can make a real difference. In fact, we'll show your impact on the app. Here's what we've done in Cincinnati just after 2 weeks of our startup. So won't you join us and go that last mile and bring fresh, good food to a nearby nonprofit and help us end food insecurity in Cincinnati? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eileen. Now let's have 2 minutes of Q&A from our judges.
Eileen, thank you very much for sharing that story with us. I think everybody would agree with you. It's a major problem, and it's nice to see some solutions around it. My question is in regards to the partnerships that you create to actually receive the food, and then also kind of the economics around sustainability of this program. So, for instance, obviously you're partnered with some other nonprofits and other organizations to take that food and use it wisely. I'm guessing La Soup might be one of those that you're partnered with. Given that you're a nonprofit like them, how do you go to market in terms of fundraising to kind of support both causes, knowing that it's all towards kind of the same greater good?
Well, remember I said we're a very small nonprofit. We're really in the business of collaborating with other partners in the community that are doing things to help those facing food insecurity. So for instance, we've got the Free Store Food Bank and Kroger on our board of trustees, and they've been tremendously helpful to us in getting us started. We have some great partnerships with food distributors who are providing that food for us. We've got Castellini in Northern Kentucky, who's just been absolutely amazing in providing us with great produce. And my co-founder, Julie Schiffman, is an amazing fundraiser. She comes from the nonprofit area, and she's just has tremendous contacts around Cincinnati that have been able to, and she's been able to use those contacts to open some doors for us. And frankly, when we tell the story of Last Mile Food Rescue and what we're doing, it's really kind of innovative if you think about it. I mean, it's all about the logistics. It's leveraging technology that's been developed and in use in several other cities and bringing that to bear in Cincinnati, and really addressing the efficiency challenges we have of getting food from point to point. And that's kind of why we named ourselves Last Mile Food Rescue, because it's all about that last mile.
Thank you.
All right, we have time for one more quick question.
Eileen, thanks so much for your presentation. Sunny Parr from the Kroger Zero Hunger, Zero Waste Foundation. Last Mile embodies, right, the absurdity that you presented in regards to the solution for a more inclusive charitable food system. I'd love to know the kind of like mobilization of gig volunteerism is really interesting to me. So I'd love to know, how do you plan to ensure, kind of the quality of the volunteer base as you grow?
This is a really important point because I mentioned we have so many generous people in Cincinnati. It's just overwhelming, the amount of people that currently are out there doing food waste anyway, or food rescue anyway. But connecting them in a way and providing them, for instance, with food safety training. Food safety is really an important element, and we've got some very kind of pertinent food safety training that's available on the app that a volunteer can go through in a matter of 15, 20 minutes, but it touches those really important points. I'm Serve Safe certified from a food safety standpoint. And the training, I believe, is really top notch. Plus, we have some amazing folks on our team that are helping us from a social media standpoint. So staying connected with volunteers, engaging with them on a regular basis, bringing them together in virtual meetings, virtual settings, so that we can establish kind of that community and help them know what impact they're making and help them do a good job every day. And like I said, we've got a capability on our app that shows your impact. And I think that it's really, really neat that we can show not only how an individual has made a difference in Cincinnati, but how our community is making a difference and rescuing pounds of food that result in meals that get to people. And then we're also able to show how we're connected to the broader community across the US that uses this technology, and how, just amazing, bringing food that ordinarily would have gone to the dump and repurposing it and helping people, just kind of take that food issue off their table so they can focus on other things that bring a more sustainable, high quality life to them.
Thanks so much.
All right, we are off to a strong start. Next up is a founder who will make sure that you never look at a plain green grass lawn the same way again. Coached by Sandy Hughes and Ken Best, here's a venture that will teach you the importance of little insects for big impact. Here's Be the Keeper.
We're on.
You are.
All right, cool. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brandon Reynolds, and I'm the founder and chief bee at Be the Keeper. And number one, I'm super appreciative of the opportunity to be a part of Sustainable Cincy, but I want to share a quick story with you. So my beekeeping journey started almost 4 years ago when the news in my social media feed started blowing up about the accelerated decline of bee populations and the impending collapse of the global food supply as a result. So I just knew I had to learn more about bees and get involved somehow to prevent all of this from happening, which led me to beekeeping and ultimately the founding of Be the Keeper. So as you might be aware, the decline in bees is directly related to global warming, which is fueled in large part by carbon emissions. And furthermore, many delicious foods we all enjoy, and I'd say quite frankly, take for granted, would no longer be available if bees disappeared, as bees pollinate much of what we eat. But I wouldn't be telling you all this. I wouldn't share all this doom and gloom with you if there wasn't a way out of it, because just by focusing on a few issues on the human side, we can prevent all the previous from happening. And the first issue we want to tackle is that traditional lawn care operations are resource intensive, and they employ a carbon heavy footprint to maintain an ongoing aesthetic. And next, sustainability consciousness is on the rise. It's all around us. People are beginning to care more about sustainability. Hence why they're demanding more sustainable business practices from the companies and people that they work with. And to be completely redundant, bee populations face complete extinction. And so Be the Keeper addresses these issues through bee-centric landscape management and services that reduce carbon emissions, enhance beauty, and protect pollinators. And also, clients save on landscaping costs over the long term as our pollinator habitats mature. And so we activate this solution through our 3 services. The first is landscaping. We work with businesses and landowners to install and maintain these pollinator-friendly plant habitats on their properties. And then after installing a pollinator habitat, select businesses can upgrade their service. They can plus up their service to add a number of professionally managed beehives to their property. Next, clients are able to select from a menu of programming options, each geared or each designed to fold employees into their company's sustainability efforts. And the customers we're targeting include corporations, municipalities, and residences. And that's whether they be individual families or homeowner associations, HOAs, but not just everybody. I mean, we've got some key qualifiers. And so what those are is that they must have sustainability ingrained in their mission. And then next, they have to have access to land, which includes the open land that you typically think of, and on top, vacant rooftop space, which is clearly an untapped market. And next is that clients, we need clients that are open to deeper engagement opportunities, which then leads us into our business model, which is listed here along with our 3 previously mentioned verticals of landscaping, beekeeping, and programming. And overlaid on top is our white glove of client service and project management, which we do across the board for corporations, municipalities, and residences. And so now we can dig into what our competitive advantages are. And like I said before, we thrive and we're with simplicity. We're a one-stop shop as clients deal with us and we handle the rest so that they don't have to spin their gears trying to find the right solution to their needs. And the next, for quality, we source the best professionals who adhere to our bee-centric sustainable land management standards. Our solution's also carbon negative, and it actively reduces carbon emissions. Next, if you've ever been looking for employee engagement, we offer some of the most sustainable or engaging sustainable programming for clients. And if you've ever been to a pollinator habitat before, number one thing is that pollinator habitats look awesome. And as I mentioned before, as landscapes mature, clients pay less in landscaping costs. So if you or someone you know is interested in using green space to reverse pollinator decline and reducing their carbon footprint and saving valuable dollars on recurring landscaping costs, then let's totally connect so that we can not only just save the bees, but also save the world together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brandon. Now let's open it up for 2 minutes of Q&A from our judges.
Hi, Brandon. This is Michael Moore with Black Achievers. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. Michael, how are you doing?
Great presentation.
Thank you.
One of my major questions would be in terms of client acquisition and like how you plan to actually get customers, and have you had any traction in that area, and maybe partnerships? You kind of talk about that area.
Well, I know you're the most popular man in Cincinnati, so I'd probably come to you first and ask you who you knew. But so far, we've had great success with actually connecting with people on LinkedIn. For example, one large client that we connected with a few months ago, I actually got in touch with their North American marketing director, and then they connected us to the person who handled their facilities. So I think direct interaction, direct connection works really well for us. And also connecting with organizations like, if you've been to a Green Umbrella event, there's so many people from different parts of different walks of life that are part of the group. And so you might have somebody that runs a construction company, and then they have networks with all the buildings that they've done. And then we can connect and they can say, hey, I've got a client that wants to be more sustainable. Can you help them out? Thank you.
All right. Brandon, my name's Kelly. I'm with Main Street Ventures, and congrats on a great presentation and being part of this program. Also, nice work on buttering up Michael there with being the most popular man in Cincinnati. He is, I'll vouch for that. But my question is around kind of the cost comparison. And I guess I'm talking about really the pricing, not cost, pricing to your members and how it compares to traditional landscapers. And then to tack on a bit to that, you talked about getting them to add on, you get them in and getting them to add on. So curious about how they compare to traditional landscapers and how you envision, the sale process for having them add on.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Short answer, and this is for the first part of the cost. Is it comparable to traditional landscaping services? The short answer is yes, but the long answer is that we really build the budget and the cost to the client's needs. So, for example, we did a large landscape installation for a client in Walnut Hills this summer for 10 grand, but then last week we did a smaller installation in front of Hughes High School for $2,500. It just all depends on what everyone can afford. And when it comes to plussing up the service, say if they say we're going to put in the landscape this year, for example, and spend $15,000, and that's going to be installation and maintenance, and that's all we can do. And then next year we'll tack on bees. It's always just developing this menu that not only fits their needs and fits their budget, but goes with the mission of the company.
Nice, thank you. Do I have time for one quick one?
That's actually all the time we have, but thank you so much for your questions. We're gonna keep rolling. All right, if we can release the screen. Here we go, we are moving. All right, if you log off of this event and start making plans for all the junk that you know you need to get rid of, but shouldn't throw away, you can thank these ladies for the inspiration. Coached by Bob Zeke and Jenny Powell, it's my pleasure to introduce the recycling queens of the Queen City, Cincinnati Recycling and Reuse Hub.
Okay. That's not cooperating. There we go. Hi, I'm Colleen McSwiggan, and I'm the Managing Director of the Cincinnati Recycling and Reuse Hub. The Hub's mission is to revolutionize how people think about things and to provide a place where almost anything can be recycled or reused. If you're like me, you probably have things around your house that you're saving in case somebody needs it, or things that you don't need but that you don't want to throw in the trash. Things like broken microwaves, old lamps, air pillows in case you need to ship something. Saving all of that can mean a lot of clutter. Is there one place you could go with all of these things? The answer is yes, and that one place is the Cincinnati Recycling and Reuse Hub. The Hub is the go-to resource to find out if something is recyclable or reusable, and it serves as a one-stop drop-off location for those items that can't be recycled at the curb. The Hub is the only facility of its kind in the tri-state and only one of a handful in the country where we will receive, sort, and distribute materials year-round. Some of the items, like empty pill bottles and gardening tools, are sent to local nonprofits that can use them for their missions. And then other things, like 1 to 7 plastics, are sent to certified recyclers. I'm going to say something that I think that everybody knows, but that very few people think about. When you throw something away, it doesn't actually go away. It goes to a landfill. In 2018, the Rumpke landfill took in an incredible amount of waste, almost 1.8 million tons. That's over 4,400 pounds of waste for every person that lived in Hamilton County that year. What may be even more incredible is that a waste study from that same year shows that almost 30% of what goes to our landfill, the amount shown in the pop-out section of the chart, is recyclable and reusable, but many of those things can't go into your curbside recycling bin. The Hub will keep a minimum of 120 tons of items out of the landfill each year, which will help reduce the effects of climate change and increase our area's recycling and reuse rates. The Hub is a collaboration between 4 previous programs. Zero Landfill Cincinnati collected excess fabric, tile, and other samples from interior designers, architectural firms, and manufacturers reps, and artists and teachers took them to reuse. Mount St. Joseph University's Beyond the Bin program collected school supplies, footwear, packing materials, and more that were sent to other nonprofits. The Mounts Electronics Recycling Days took in TVs and electronics that other places won't take, and the TerraCycle program at Pleasant Ridge Montessori collected things like squeeze pouches from applesauce and sent them to be recycled. All of these programs were very successful. In fact, if you add up all of the materials for all 4 programs, it comes to more than 465 tons of materials collected. That's enough to fill 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools. For as successful as they were, though, there was one problem with all of these programs. They were always temporary. Programs moved year to year based on where we could beg for space. Because we only had the space for a day, or at best a month, we never had enough space for the amount of items people wanted to bring to us. All of those issues led to one light bulb moment. What if people could bring almost everything that's recyclable or reusable to one permanent year-round space when it was convenient for them? That's why we've created the Hub. And because we have a combined 28 years of experience creating reuse opportunities and collecting hard to recycle items, we are confident that we can make it a viable nonprofit. Although our previous events were free to the public, we did collect donations for the electronics drives to cover hazardous material disposal and transportation costs. Over the course of just 9 events, we collected a total of almost $55,000 just in donations. Knowing the amount of material that's out there and that people want to do good by going green, these are our revenue projections based on what we think at a minimum we will collect within the first 5 years. A major part of our program revenue will be from electronics, but beginning in our second full year, we will also have a lot of revenue coming in from businesses and municipality pickup and events. Much of this business to business revenue will also be focused on electronics, but we want to be the go-to resource to help businesses find partners to deal with all of their wastes if we can't take care of it ourselves. But to be able to do these things, we need a home. Our long-term plans include a warehouse that we will own, but for now, we just need a place to get things going, and we're not picky. It just needs to be functional, about 15,000 square feet in size, and centrally located. We will lease if we need to, but we'd be absolutely thrilled if somebody offered us a space for little or no cost for a year or two, so we can start earning our own revenue and expand our mission to increase our impact in the region. So how can you help make the hub a reality? If you know of a place that meets our criteria, please let us know. If you know of a grant funder or a potential sponsor who could help us, please let us know. And if you're able to make a donation to our capital campaign to help us get a permanent place, we would greatly appreciate it. To close, I just want to thank all of you for your time today, and thank you for doing your part to help increase recycling and reuse in our area, since as the adapted saying goes, there is no planet B. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Colleen and Carrie. There definitely is no planet B. This is so important for our region. Let's move to 2 minutes of Q&A from our judges.
Hi, so Mark, I'll jump in. Could you humor me and go back a couple slides where you had your graphs?
You talk this one or the pie
That one
chart?
right there. Yep. So I'm just trying to soak this in. Sorry for burning through the 2 minutes, but
That's okay.
on the right-hand side, are you showing the value of the materials that you guys have obtained? Or
No,
what
so for the electronics, we will actually charge fees for things like TVs, computer monitors, refrigerant containing appliances. And then we'll also charge for light bulbs, batteries, tires, forgetting something, smoke detectors. So but most of the electronics is that green band on the bottom. And then the big yellow band is actually where we will start picking up things from other companies and taking in things for municipalities that would have like a one-day drop-off event, but we would take care of that so that they don't have to manage all of that anymore.
Okay, so in other words, your model is to get donated materials and try to sell them for, frankly, a profit.
No, we're not selling anything other than very small things like maybe packing materials and things like that. But we are asking for well, there are fees where if you have a TV and you bring it to us, we will have a fee for that. A portion of that fee will go to the recycler that we work with because they have to pay, again, the hazardous material and transportation costs. But then a portion of that fee we will keep.
Okay, I got a lot more, but I'll shut up and let somebody ask.
Right.
It's okay.
Hi, Colleen. Given the amount of money you're showing there, is that enough to sustain a paid staff, or are you working mainly with volunteers, or have you worked that business model out?
Yeah, we'll have volunteers to begin with, but then we will have paid staff beginning in the second year. So we will have the managing director, the associate director, and then down the line, we'll actually get to the point where we've got a CFO, somebody in charge of human resources, somebody in charge of communications, things like that. And then we will also be hiring people to help sort all of the materials. We actually hope to hire a lot of adults with developmental disabilities to help with that. The co-founder, Carrie, and I both have teenage sons with developmental disabilities, and we know that's something that they could help with, although our sons specifically won't be with us because they need a little distance. But we want to actually provide jobs for individuals like them.
Okay, thank you. Well done.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, thanks guys. Let's rock and roll on to the next one. If you could release the screen, thank you. Okay. Our next team is the one that arguably convinced me it was a good idea to run an all virtual program. Because if we hadn't, we never would have had the opportunity to work with them, which has been one of the greatest joys of the past few weeks. So, coached by Lisa DeGate and Adam Little, this team encourages sustainable practices for everyone from individual consumers to large corporations. If you hear that buzzing in the distance, maybe in the general direction of the Pacific Ocean, it's the swarm coming. Take it away, guys.
Hello, everyone. We are Swarm, here to save the planet from climate change. Now, I'm pretty confident in saying everyone here is a part of the 63% of Americans that are worried about climate change. But I'll bet you didn't know that of this 63%, only 8% understand what they can do to prevent it. That's hard to believe. It's only 8%, especially when 75% want to live sustainably. We've all seen the devastating effects of climate change, hurricanes and bushfires. But you may have thought, it's not going to affect me. With a changing climate and increased rainfall, here in Cincinnati, we are susceptible to more landslides. So, what can you, just one person, do? Well, we say it is like a single bee abandoning her hive. You just don't stand a chance. Alternatively, you could join our Swarm, a community of like-minded individuals leaving the destructive hive behind to find our better future. Our Swarm simplifies your transition to a sustainable lifestyle, and we influence the change required in those reluctant companies. But we'll get to that. If we told you your target was 13.5 pounds of CO2 per day, CO2 emissions being what your carbon footprint is measured in, you'd be able to crush this sustainable living, right? But check out that Cincinnati chili you're making for your romantic date night. Our ingredients look pretty sustainable, but there are other activities that need to be included. Does that sound confusing? That is why only 8% understand that we need to look at our whole carbon footprint, learn what the largest carbon emitting activities are, and change our habits. So Crystal, how can our Swarm do this?
Well, Ben, as you said, you need a tool to track your whole carbon footprint. Transitioning to a sustainable life is kind of like going on a diet. You need guidance, support, and lots of data. So we've built a calorie counter for the planet. Our Swarm app is essentially a carbon footprint calculator where users can track and reduce the carbon footprint from their household energy, transportation, and in a world first, from the consumer goods they buy. And you want to know the best bit? Your buying decisions don't only impact you. Remember, Ben mentioned influencing change. Well, when you use our Swarm app to shop smarter, we'll leverage your actions to promote corporate sustainable business practices.
We have the anonymized data from our users of their habits and preferences, and this data is powerful. Firstly, it provides revenue from marketing. We are the first to offer insights for sustainable shopping and lifestyle choices. And second, as Crystal said, this data will influence manufacturers and retailers to optimize their supply chains to be more sustainable. The impact of showing our Swarm a scan sustainable is huge.
We're not alone in this space, but what we're offering is something really unique. We're building a community of swarmers, and we're providing one comprehensive resource for information and data. And we're the only ones leveraging your positive actions to influence greater change. We are planning our next phase now to refine our app UX, market heavily to increase our app users from the current base of over 500, hire key staff like data scientists, launch on the Android platform, and develop an API. For those who aren't sure, that's a database subscription for online retailers to be able to provide real-time carbon emissions data to the consumers on their platform.
Apologies there, bit of a technical difficulty. I'm assuming you can hear me again.
Yep.
Yes.
We have great organic growth and a solid revenue pathway. We know our costs to grow the swarm, so we will be fundraising soon. We are expanding our team, creating partnerships, and looking to bring on advisors.
Our team are all from different backgrounds, offering a variety of expertise, but we need more experts. Technical advice to help build that API I mentioned, guidance to develop our app UX, and support to help source prospective impact investors. The responsibility to reduce global carbon emissions lies at the feet of the consumer, manufacturer, and the retailer, and our app brings all three together. Everyone here today has the power to help reduce global carbon emissions. So, whoever you are, you can help make a difference. We'd love to hear from you. Please connect with us and please join the swarm.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ben and Crystal. Let's have 2 minutes of Q&A from our judges.
Hey, Ben. Hey, Crystal. Great job, and congratulations on getting through SustainableCincy. This is Anthony Seppi with HCDC. So I've got a question about just kind of your milestones in terms of your app development. Are you guys considering any types of strategic partnerships with some of the grocers out there, Kroger, Giant Eagle, those types, in terms of integrations? Is that something you guys have planned?
Yeah, we definitely have planned to do that. The big thing is our API, that we can bring our algorithms to the products. So that means that although, Kroger or whoever will know the carbon footprint of their products, they just don't know what the final end journey is, transportation, disposal, things like that, which we can help them with our AI, which we will also be including in our app. So those partnerships are vital for us, so we get up-to-date information and the correct information.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Ben. Hey, Crystal. Good to see you. This is Ali Kroner with the city of Cincinnati. I love that from around the world, the other side of the world, you calculated the carbon footprint of Cincinnati chili. I appreciate that. We hear from people all the time that they want to make an impact, but it's clear to us that the behavioral component, the behavior change, is the hardest to make. How are you thinking about behavior science in the design of your product, and how are you measuring the actual changes that you are nudging in people's lives?
Yeah, thanks. That's a really good question. We kind of learned early on that the behavior of people it will change with practice. What we needed to do was make that as easy as possible. So the first version of the app, everything is very manual. And with the upgrade, we're looking to automate a lot more of the features in there. So users will have to pull out their phone less. It will advise them how they're doing, and they will then understand, hey, if I'm getting a taxi rather than the streetcar, it's going to be a higher carbon footprint, and then they can learn from those sorts of things. So changing behavior is that's our main goal. And like I said, it's going to take a lot of practice.
And if I can add to that, actually, just to say that what we're really wanting to do is kind of model on the fact that people are getting more and more au fait with using lifestyle apps to really impact their daily lives. So we really think that this is something that we can translate to the carbon footprint and sustainability part of their life as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Swarm team. All right. My friends, we are halfway through our slate of pitches and not slowing down for anything. So let's keep it going. I'm not from Cincinnati. When I moved to Cincinnati a few years ago, I never would have guessed that it was a place where agriculture could thrive. But this team proved me wrong. They're not just providing fresh local produce to our region's food system. They're doing it in a way that honors land and labor with soil restoration and family sustaining jobs. Coached by Joe Vallow and Michonne Stiles, I'm so excited to introduce our Harvest Cooperative.
Awesome. Are you aware that the type of food you eat can give you real life and vitality? And I'm talking real life and vitality. The kind that makes you want to jump out of bed each morning, the kind that adds spring to your step, the kind that radiates out of you. Are you the kind of person that wants to keep you and your family healthy with the freshest, tastiest, most nutrient-dense fruits and veggies available? Are you one of those people that wants to know that the person who grew your food cared about it and was cared about? If you said yes, you are not alone. There are a lot of us out there. It's a major local and national movement, and it's growing. It's a life-changing movement. Why? Because what we put into our body matters. It's fundamental, a basic building block of our health. We want to eat clean. We want to trust that our food has not been subjected to chemicals or gases to help it ripen, that it hasn't traveled across half the country for days, losing its nutrients on the way. We want fresh, nutrient-dense food that we can trust. My name is Kristen, and I'm with Our Harvest Cooperative, and we bring you that food. We are a worker and community-owned farm and food hub. We create access to healthy local food in a way that honors land and labor. We supply more than 100,000 pounds of produce every year to the greater Cincinnati area, and we do it through 3 different channels. Number 1, we sell directly to individuals or families through pickup points around the city. Number 2, we sell wholesale to restaurants and stores. And number 3, we work with social agencies that have programs to get food where it's needed most. Today, I'm going to talk to you about number 1, how you and your family can get fresh veggies from the local Our Harvest farm. All the magic happens by getting the weekly harvest box. So what's a weekly harvest box, you might ask? That means that every week, the farm and the food hub make a small, medium, or large box of fresh picked fruit and veggies just for you. From our emails and social media, you'll know what's coming in your box. You'll get recipes, and voila, you just pick it up and you've got the most colorful, healthiest, tastiest produce you've ever had. We make it easy to eat with the seasons. And we support you in having new food adventures that get you out of routines and ruts. And who knows? You might meet a new veggie. You might find new recipes that become family keepers. So maybe I got your attention. Want to hear the juicy details? We provide you a way to receive fresh local produce year-round. Through our website, you can sign up for your weekly harvest box. You can add local meats, cheeses, eggs, honey, jams, and much, much more. Your subscription online, stopping and starting it as you please, going on hold. When you're on hold, you have an option to donate your share to Cane's Rainbow Choice Food Pantry. And something to know about most community-supported agriculture, CSA, is that you have to pay for a whole season of veggies up front. With our harvest, you can choose to pay weekly as you receive your product, which can be much easier on your pocketbook. When you connect with our harvest, you are not simply a customer. You're part of a community that connects through pickup sites, Facebook, email, and optional on-farm volunteer days and more. When you buy tasty, nutrient-dense veggies and fruits through our harvest, you support worker voice. We have a diverse team of 12, each of whom has a pathway to ownership. When you buy food from our harvest, you also care for the land. You help care for the land through sustainable practices that trap carbon and build rich soil. You support efforts to get healthy local foods to people in food deserts. Our harvest partners with many groups to get food where it's needed most. You also help train the next generation of farmers. Our harvest serves as the practicum site for Cincinnati State's Sustainable Agriculture Program, and students come weekly to our urban farm, which happens to be on a bus line. So are you one of those people that wants healthy, tasty, nutrient-dense food you can trust? Food that heals the planet and builds our local community? Awesome. I invite you to get connected. Start by signing up for a weekly harvest box at ourharvest.coop. Then tell your 3 closest friends. Join us at ourharvest.coop and be part of this life-changing movement. Thanks.
Woo! I know there's a lot of those people in the audience. Thank you so much, Kristen. Judges, what do you got?
Thank you very much. That's terrific. I know as a consumer, I think that a lot of people are definitely excited about all the local options now. So, I mean, my question is, with all of the farmers markets and local farms and other options, are you a channel for many of them? What makes our harvest different than some of the other options that have propped up, and how do consumers know that?
Yeah, well, I would say we view all those options, say any CSA, any farmers market, all of those as really supportive of our general mission. We want a healthy, sustainable food system, that nurtures land and so forth. So we're really excited. We're pretty far from that as a city. And so any of those are pretty exciting in our area. There are very unique things about our harvest, though. We're a worker and community-owned co-op. That means then that the decisions are, I'm looking at you into your eyes on my Zoom, but I realize I might be looking, who knows how that works. But anyway. But in any case, what I was just going to say, so then the way that workers interact with it, the level of worker voice is really unique to our harvest. Our regenerative agriculture practices, we want the whole world to do, so we hope that isn't as unique as it is right now. Also, training farmers on our farm is kind of an awesome, cool thing we do. So there's a whole, I guess also the fact that we're year-round. Not many farmers locally have the capacity to grow through the winter. We have hoop houses that allow us to maintain this year-round growth. So those are some differentiators.
Thank you.
Hey, Kristen, it's Ryan from Green Umbrella.
Hi.
Hi. I have been so impressed by, not only your labor practices, but the sheer volume of food that you all are able to grow. And I was just curious if there is like a secret to your success in terms of being able to produce really these abundant harvests that are feeding huge numbers of families.
So I think one secret is that we are unbelievably blessed to be on the Bar Farm. We have two farms. And the Bar Farm in Cincinnati is like this incredible gem not many people know about. It's 32 acres. And the reason I'm focused on that is because it's been in the same family for 104 years. So it's been tended and nurtured. And that soil has a high amount of organic matter. And that compared to our other farm that we have practiced on, it's getting better because we do practices that build the soil every year. But 7 years in, the Bar Farm still almost doubles the yields that we have out there. So healthy soil not only traps carbon, but it leads to incredibly high yields, and it takes a lot to make it. So we're just truly lucky to have access to that. That's one thing. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you again, Kristen. And if you could release the screen, we'll get going on the next one.
I'm trying. Okay, there we go.
All right. Let's see. 5 down, 3 to go. Our next venture is revolutionizing the event planning industry to maximize efficiency and minimize environmental impact. If you love concerts and festivals, but worry about their impact on the environment, Olivier has a solution for you. Coached by Melise May, David Jaffe, and Rhonda Stargill, here is Transmissions.
Hi, I'm Olivier Fischer, the founder of Transmissions, and today I'm going to talk about sustainability in the event business. So what's the problem we're dealing with here? Cincinnati, estimated population 303,940. Every year, there's Oktoberfest. In 2018, there was 650,000 people attending. That is more than twice the city's population. About 10 Paul Brown stadiums. Don't worry, I'm sure they all got there downtown using the streetcar. 2,000 barrels of beer were consumed. That's about 62 gallons. I could not get the stats on the number of portalettes or parking lots that were required or the amount of garbage generated. But basically, you get the scope of the problem. The stress on the city's infrastructure, and the work the event producers have to do to keep track of everything. So how can we help cities and event producers? These issues of transportation, parking, energy use, and waste management are the same that the United Nations have been tackling through their United Smart Cities initiatives. They think information and communication technologies can bring answers to these problems. We agree. So we developed a software as a service application to help event tackle one of their biggest pain, which is producing a map of their event, and at the same time, address sustainability. But first, let's look at the world without technology. Host cities usually require event producers to provide a detailed map of their event. Here's an example of a manually produced map. It takes hours to draw, even more time to manage and update. And it's not even to scale. We only have 5 minutes, so let me focus on how we address some of the urban mobility challenges. Our software is Google Maps meets Visio for event producers. We provide a pick list of objects you can drag and drop on the map: stages, food trucks, generators, parking lots, entrance gates. For parking, we include sustainable options such as rideshare, electric car, or bicycle parking. And we make them stand out as sustainable in the user interface by showing them in green. The user can now see them as clear, sustainable alternatives. Also, we provide tools such as the transit locator, where the user can click a button and locate all the public transportation options in the area and include them on their map. This can help them strategically locate entrances to the event near subway stations or bus stops, which in turn might convince event goers to use mass transit. Once the map is designed, it can be shared with event goers on the website and on the mobile app. So the user is aware of all the sustainable mobility options and can choose to use them. Much of this reflects the growing interest about sustainability in the arts and events world. Julie's Bicycle, a government-funded group in the UK focusing on sustainability in the arts, lists many of these ideas in its practical guide to audience travel. The European Union's Greenfest is the equivalent to Julie's Bicycle. My example focused on mobility, but sustainability in events includes other aspects such as recycling, water conservation, energy use, food waste, or ethical trade. And we also address these in our software. What is revolutionary here is that our tool can seamlessly help event producer integrate these ideas about sustainability in the actual process of building their event. We've made many of these ideas about sustainability coming from industry and government think tanks actually actionable. So now let me give you a little background information. The US event industry is about 200,000 businesses, 155 billion. The global event software industry is 6.5 billion. About transmission, there's 3 of us. I have a PhD in AI. My dissertation research was supported by the NIH and DARPA. I'm an inventor on 4 patents, was a co-founder of Planet Feedback. And during the .com era, I was the user experience and rapid prototyping expert on many .com new ventures at Procter. We've been developing our technology for the last 5 years. I've had about 300 users, including a festival with upward of 60,000 users, attendees. To summarize, events are temporary cities. The event map is at the heart of event management, and our technology turns ideas about sustainability into action. Our asks: connection towards a pilot, possibly with a city, clients, advisory board members. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Olivier. Now let's have 2 minutes of Q&A from our judges.
Hi, Olivier. My name is Danielle Cortez. I'm with Dinsmore and Scholl. We've been offering some pro bono services to all of these great companies that have come on here. My question just sort of revolves around your business model and if COVID has impacted it at all, if you're trying to go in a different direction, just along those lines.
Well, I mean, COVID has not impacted the business model as such. I mean, it's, we're a software as a service, and so we're charging the client with a license. I mean, definitely what the impact is that, you know, everybody's wondering if events are going to happen and when, and you know, and so I'll just tell you what one of the people in my market research that I've done through the accelerator told me a few weeks ago. I was interviewing the producer of one of the main rock festivals in Finland. And basically his answer was, well, you know, we're behaving like stuff is going to happen next summer because we can't do any, you know, that's what we have to do. And then if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. So, you know, hopefully stuff will happen. And I mean, from the news from the last few weeks, it looks like, you know, stuff will happen next summer. So, and maybe to add to this just a second, which is that one of the advantages that our software provides related to COVID is that because it's all computer based and GIS based, we actually can really generate very easily, compute the number of people that can fit in a particular space. And so when you're talking about social distancing, that's really an important thing that we can actually generate.
All right, we have time for one more quick question from Allie.
Great. Hi, Olivier. Nice to see you. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Assuming that, you know, the events get back up and running, have you thought at all about kind of integrating the carbon offset for events into the app, or what would that look like?
Well, you know, I was talking about these, about Julie's Bicycle and these organizations that deal with sustainability in events. And basically, that's definitely something they do. And they do everything really on paper with forms, okay? And we've kind of tried to integrate a lot of their knowledge that they have in these paper, in their forms in the software. And so until you asked the question, I never really thought about doing it, but it seems that, you know, that's a kind of a good next step, which is basically take also, you know, try to integrate that just like they have in their forms. So it's definitely something that's very relevant to sustainability in events.
Awesome. All right, just a couple more to go. Next up, we have a founder who truly understands the human challenges of food insecurity. Her breadth of experience from urban LA to rural Alabama has inspired her to tackle the challenge of food access through relationship building and personalized service. Coached by Rebecca Arbona, David Ioha, and Michael Braswell, it is my pleasure to introduce Naturally Homegrown.
When you hear the terms farm or farmers, what comes to mind? Do you think of flannel shirts, tractors, overalls, or even the song, Old MacDonald? I was curious. I asked Siri, and she came up with some of the images that I think a lot of us have in our mind. An older white gentleman surrounded by animals. You probably wouldn't think of me as someone who has lived on a farm. Hi, my name is Kai, and I am the founder of Naturally Homegrown. When I was 8 years old, my family and I moved from Los Angeles, California to Prattville, Alabama to live on my grandfather's farm. What I enjoyed most about Alabama was the access we had to all of the fresh food. No more trips to the grocery store that took an hour in traffic back and forth. It took so long because we didn't have a grocery store in our neighborhood. When we moved to Alabama, I had the freedom to eat as many blueberries as I wanted from Blueberry Hill. I could walk down the red dirt road to my great-grandmother's house and pick peaches from her peach tree or watermelons from my grandfather's watermelon patch. I learned at a young age and experienced both the difficulty and ease around accessibility to fresh food. We all know that fresh food is more nutritious and that it leads to living a longer, healthier life, but not everyone in our communities has access to fresh food due to barriers such as the lack of healthy food options, affordability, and transportation. Naturally Homegrown exists to provide access to affordable produce that's safely accessible for individuals and families who live in food desert neighborhoods, which are neighborhoods without a major grocery store or farmer's market. We do this by growing fresh food in underserved communities and getting fresh food into people's hands by meeting them where they are, at home. We're delivering directly to our consumers' doorsteps. With our focus being on African American neighborhoods that unfortunately experience higher health disparities due to the lack of food options. Food desert neighborhoods exist all over the US. The Green Umbrella reported that in Cincinnati alone, more than 46% of people live in a neighborhood without access to fresh produce and or a major supermarket. In fact, my husband and I live in Roselawn, and we're considered a food desert. Thankfully, we have resources and transportation so that we can access the fresh produce and fresh foods, but that's not the reality for most. With that in mind, I'm currently working with a designer to include a user-friendly platform that will be embedded in our website and allow our consumers to order fresh produce on a schedule that best fits their needs. We started delivering produce in June, and we've been able to deliver 190 containers, which is about 2,000 pounds of produce. And we hope to deliver twice as much next year. Naturally Homegrown takes pride in our diversified produce sources. We procure our produce in 4 ways. We glean. Gleaning allows us to harvest surplus produce from local farms in an effort to prevent food waste. We rescue, which allows us to partner with local grocery stores, organizations, or farms to gather fresh produce, like one of our partners, one of our partners, Foxtail Farm. We try to purchase from local farmers and growers, and this is one of our local growers, Aaron, that we've been able to work with. And last but certainly not least, we're growing. We're growing our own produce in Bond Hill. I'm really excited about this opportunity. We're working with Brick Gardens and Tridestone New Beginning, and we're growing on about 1.5 acres of land, which is about 5 minutes away from my house, so that's even better. We started sampling the soil and preparing the raised beds, and we were able to sample 3 of the beds, and we were able to harvest Swiss chard. We harvested some greens and some turnips as well. So we're extremely excited about growing and harvesting even more in 2021. Delivering fresh produce that is grown locally is critically important in eliminating 2 major barriers of accessibility: transportation and cost. Growing locally is more sustainable, it's better for the environment, it's familiar, and it's safely accessible for local residents, which more than increases the probability of long-term access. In closing, the heart of Naturally Homegrown is built on our commitment to give back. We're pledging 10% of our profits to ensure that we are establishing access to fresh produce. We're starting this Saturday. We're partnering with Molina Healthcare to provide 100 bags of produce at a local community event. If you're interested and ready to get your hands dirty, literally, reach out to us on Instagram at Naturally Homegrown Food to learn more about volunteering at our garden in Bond Hill. We'd love to connect and partner to discuss opportunities to rescue, glean, or grow produce. And you can always follow us on Instagram to stay connected. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, Kai is here to answer our judges' questions.
Thank you so much. And really quickly, Josie, I just wanted to make a comment. Yesterday, I was asked to consider how referencing older white men as farmers might come off as offensive. And the point of that statement is just to draw attention to the disparities that exist. As one of very few Black women here in Cincinnati doing this work, if that gets me into a little bit of good trouble, as John Lewis would say, I'm okay with that as long as we are starting to have those conversations around working through those disparities.
That's great. Thanks, Kai. That was amazing. Really wonderful presentation. And thanks for all the, really important work you're doing in Cincinnati. It's nice to see you. I have a question around marketing and how do people find out about you and what does that look like for the next, couple years of growing your business?
So right now, as I mentioned, we're very new. So we're only 5 months old and we've been reaching out to our consumers via social media. And we'll continue to do that. And as we ramp up and our website goes live, we will be able to push that out on social as well so that we can invite consumers to order from us online and learn more about what we have going on in that channel.
Awesome job, Kai. This is Anthony Seppi with HCDC. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Getting through SustainableCincy and look forward to you being part of the community. Speaking of community, I wanted to understand a little bit more about how you're leveraging local partnerships in the neighborhoods that you're working.
So right now we've had wonderful partnerships. We work with Brick Gardens. They're our subject matter experts, so they help us with growing and things of that nature. The land that we're using is actually, like I mentioned, it's about 5 minutes away from where I live, Tristone New Beginning. So they've allowed us to come into their space and grow. We also partner with a farm in New Richmond. It's called Foxtail Farm. They've been absolutely wonderful with partnering with us. And we're hoping after this cohort, we've received some great contacts with Kristen and with Elaine over at Last Mile. So we have some partnerships that we've been able to work with. Cradle Cincinnati is one of the partners that we've been working with to make sure that those families receive produce as well. And like I mentioned, this Saturday, we're partnering with Molina Healthcare. So we have a really huge event that we're going to be preparing for right after this call, bagging produce and getting things ready for Saturday. So we've had a great response as far as our partnerships in the community.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
All right. If we could release the screen for our next one. Thank you so much, Kai. I think that's you actually releasing the screen. Just kidding, I fixed it. All right. We're almost there, you guys. Bringing us home this evening, we have a team that, with their combined experience, expertise, and passion, can only be compared to the Avengers. They're on a mission to turn all of this year's challenges into opportunities and make urban agriculture accessible to everyone. Coached by Eric Ross and Paul Sidlowski, I'd like to introduce Urban Farming Initiative.
Thank you for that lovely introduction, Josie. All right. Oops. All right, can we see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Hi there, I'm Mariana Padilla, one of the co-founders of the Urban Farming Initiative. Take a minute in your mind's eye. I want you to imagine a world with no hunger, where produce is accessible and grown locally, where the food we produce reduces our carbon footprint, and where farming efforts yield communities that unite around food access. We're the Urban Farming Initiative, and this is the world that we're creating. We exist to convert unused and bankrupt properties into thriving, community-owned urban farms and food hubs. Now I'm going to pass you off to Kevin Mackey, another co-founder, who's going to tell you a little bit about our founding story.
Thanks, Mari. Well, 2020 happened. We all lived through it, and it was a year of incredible transition and change for many people and industries, but in particular in retail and commercial real estate. You see the signs here, for sale signs and for lease signs, and Mari and I would drive around and we would see these unabating, but they were in these properties that were still very usable. And so we said to ourselves, why not convert these into thriving urban farms and community hubs? And so that's what we intend to do. We got our start in May, and we've learned a lot along the way. In particular, we've learned that food access is a problem, but it's a complex problem. There's a lot of folks on the call tonight that are trying to solve it. What we've learned is that supply and demand infrastructure on the food access side is absolutely there, but there's a coordination problem. And again, that's what we intend to solve through our programs and through space. We've also learned that technology is developing. In the past 2 years, since 2019, $17 billion has been invested in ag tech and farm tech companies. We intend to leverage those. And last, commercial bankruptcies are occurring now. The 2 largest mall operators across the country just went bankrupt last month. That all creates a future state for the Urban Farming Initiative, where we have a community inventorying product. We are a content powerhouse where we take our learnings and we publish them for the world at large. And last, we are a project manager of the creation of these new farms and community hubs. We'll explain how that works right now, and I'll toss it off to Mari for our content hub.
Absolutely. So our website will be a content powerhouse that provides our collective shared learnings. Here's a little bit of about what that workflow is going to look like when you come to our website. The first workflow is going to be for those individuals who are new to urban farming and want to learn how to start their own urban farm. The second is going to be for groups and individuals who potentially already have an urban farm, but are looking to turn it into a thriving business. And lastly, our third workflow is going to be for those who really want to learn how to scale impact in their communities using our community inventorying product.
Thanks, Mari. So a little bit more on what that community inventorying product actually is. It's a proprietary research methodology that produces a state of food access report. In that, we understand the key players in a region and we use their data and systems that they already have in place to combine that and create this final state of food access report. From there, we can actually understand where are there gaps in the community and how can we solve them through the creation and commissioning of these urban farms. We will choose which type of farming model to apply based on the needs of whether it is produce, whether it is berries, or whether it is something else. We scope the project, we help finance the project, and we ultimately execute it to completion with a handoff to community owners. Here's a visual of what that ecosystem looks like. The content hub on the bottom leads to more community inventorying knowledge, turns into project management, and ultimately space for the community. Our revenue model. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, and a huge thank you to the Flywheel and Dinsmore teams for helping us set that up. On the revenue side, we'll have a freemium content library, most of which is going to be given away for free, but there will be templates and other actionable things our farmers can take that will be based on a monthly subscription. We'll also have these paid community inventory and project management engagements, which will be scoped to the need of each individual community. And finally, we'll be taking commissions from a reseller arrangement with the new types of farming systems that are coming online. Notably, there's a couple of companies, Freight Farms out of Boston, Aero Farms out of New Jersey, and iFarms out of London. Our asks. We're currently seeking private matches to grants that will help us complete our community inventorying product here in the city of Cincinnati. And as a result of that, we're looking for connections to the people and organizations that are already tackling food access, many of whom are on this call, but there's many more that we probably have not been connected with. We want to take the great work they're already doing and leverage it to be even more impactful to our communities at large. So how are we going to do that? We have a great team of 10 board members, each of whom shares the same passion for food access and food justice, but has distinct professional skill sets that will help us execute these functions. Any one of us would be thrilled to talk to you about the Urban Farming Initiative. Thank you so much for your time. Please feel free to email me or follow up on our social media pages. Thank you again.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin and Mari. Let's hear some Q&A from our judges.
All right, I'll happily jump in first. First, great presentation. It's interesting. There's 2 different visions almost of urban farming here, though. One is, taking an empty plot and turning it into a farm. And then sort of what your model is, notionally, it seems a lot more complicated, right? Bringing together some pretty sophisticated indoor farming methods, it sounds like, an awful lot of capital to kind of acquire and repurpose buildings. Can you talk a little bit about sort of the complexity, how you help bring that down, and are there sort of teams in place to stand up these kind of sophisticated operations?
Yeah, great question, John. Thanks for asking. A little bit about my background. I've been doing competitive intelligence and M&A due diligence research projects that although different than this, have kind of the same process and function. And so that's really where a lot of this starts, is actually gaining that understanding of what are we dealing with and how do you turn that into some sort of financial model. There will have to be a lot of deep work on the front end so that we can actually turn it into kind of a business model, so to speak, to not only get the right parties involved, but then of course to scope out the finances and then fundraise for it.
This project's so intriguing to me. You know, the problem is familiar, but you're bringing a whole different skill set and lens, the tech and analytics. So from my understanding, you're sort of merging commercial real estate, urban farming with big data. And I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but that's how I'm understanding it. Each of those is complicated in its own right. Which do you see to be the biggest challenge or the biggest learning hurdle for you?
Yeah, it's going to be taking the learnings from one individual community and understanding how they transfer broadly. So what we have here in the city of Cincinnati is probably going to be relatively consistent with what you might see in Chicago or other areas or even neighborhoods of Chicago. But I'm actually going to go back to the Centrifuge model. That was actually really kind of pivotal in how I'm thinking about this project, because what Centrifuge did is it started with one man's vision, and many, I shouldn't say just one, but many, many people's visions to be able to bring together the right stakeholders and then ultimately turn it into something real, which is Union Hall, a physical building, a fund of funds, and then of course the operations that is sustaining all of these things. So I actually kind of take that inspiration to say, there were people that have done this before in another realm. How can we now do this in the kind of sustainable community food access realm?
And just to add on to it, I think that what really makes us unique is the diversity of the team, which we briefly mentioned. And you talked about data and indoor agriculture. We actually have a board member, Tyler Wolf, who is the owner of Urban Blooms. And so he is on our board, will be consulting to help us with indoor farming. We also have two data scientists, David Mackey and Tim Niekamp, who are the founders of Data Bloom, who are going to be really helping us built in and bake in data from everything we do from the very beginning, so that we can really accumulate that and really distribute those learnings in the long term.
We're super nerds.
I love it. Thank you for the pitch.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Kevin and Mari. That'll do it for our pitches. Wow. Normally this is when the beer hall would erupt in another round of applause for our founders, but it's just us in here. So that was awesome. As a reminder, let me share my screen real quick. If you have not taken the opportunity to vote for the Audience Choice Award, please do so using the link that has been placed in the chat and in the description of the YouTube link. This is your chance to voice who your favorite pitch is to win the Audience Choice. So excited to see the results of that. And wow, if you guys didn't think that Cincinnati was poised to be a leader in the sustainability space before those pitches, I'm sure you're all convinced after. Before we move on to our fireside chat, I want to give a special shout out to Pete Blackshaw for being the best hype man in the chat. We see you, Pete, so thank you. While the judges deliberate on the rest of our awards, it's my privilege to introduce our facilitator for tonight's fireside chat, Kyla Woods. Kyla is a great friend of Flywheel and an amazing advocate for social impact in this community. She'll bring out our special guest and treat us all to an engaging conversation about the future of sustainability. Kyla, take it away.
Thank you so much, Josie. Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for attending tonight and for sticking around with us for this fireside. Of course, I know you want to hear about the awards presentation, so we're getting there. We're in the home stretch, but we have an incredible speaker for you joining us tonight, and I want to go ahead and go through his intro and get him really ready to just share with you the importance of sustainability, of course, right in line with everything that we've already been hearing from our founders right here in Cincinnati. So I'm so excited to introduce you to John Picard. And some would say that our SustainableCincy GO event keynote speaker has been living in the future ever since he built his first smart, eco-friendly home in California. He is not only an architect, builder, and entrepreneur, but a renowned sustainability expert and the founder of John Picard and Associates, a global environmental consulting firm. So we are so thrilled and honored and excited to welcome John Picard here with us for SustainableCincy GO. And John, I know that you are excited to be here with us. And I also know that you wanted to share some reflections from some of the startup founders that you heard from tonight. So if you want to start with that, and then we'll go into our chat. I think you're still muted, John. Oh, there you go.
There.
There you go.
Hey, everybody. It was awesome to sit here and listen to the pitches. And I've been at this a while. You guys were fantastic. In fact, the time that I have, I want to take a few minutes and talk about you. In each one, I took some notes, and I hope you don't mind. I spend 15 seconds on each one of you with some ideas. And a shout out too to PNC Bank. I appreciate you guys sponsoring this. Not too many banks see that the bottom line of green is black and getting bigger and better. So good on you guys for doing that. And Kyla, as I mentioned, I have a lot going on in Cincinnati. I know you guys can read my bio and go to LinkedIn, see that I've been in the Silicon Valley and LA and Kai, good move on you for moving out of LA. LA is a monument of what not to do as a city. So great, you went to Alabama, you started that farm, you're 4 months in. On my notes, I wrote powerful, powerful, powerful. You are a leader, keep it going. And to Donovan, so Tim and I have known each other forever. Tim, one word, he is a badass in energy. Like nobody understands BTUs, therms, kilowatts, the AI, the machine learning, the devices, the costs, all the shit wrapped around low bids and old gray-haired angry engineers trying to mess it up. He's awesome. And so, Tim, thanks for writing the check. And then, really important is the work that I'm involved in at the Cincinnati airport. And I just want to say, in the Silicon Valley, we don't give a shit about failing. We fail forward. We are fearless about breaking things. But because you can't build an enabling company to save the world, heading to 10 billion people, wringing your hands and looking at your feet. So every one of you in your startup, wake up tomorrow. You are the leader in the space of your business, and you need to act like it. You need to design forward. You need to be the inspirer. You may not be the CEO for long, but this was your idea. This is your baby. Don't quit. Don't quit ever. Sell the house, sell the car, borrow money from everyone, but go for it. And I've been in the wheelhouse. I was there at Ness when 5 people were in the room. I was around for some of these big seminal enabling web companies in the Valley. You're no different than that. And the potential for you guys to change the world from where you are with the attitude that I heard on the call tonight. And look at it, we're virtualized. COVID took us and crushed us from connecting. It closed the entire gap. Like the real deal is, it's going forward today. It's going to take all the things I saw in all of you tonight: passion, commitment, fearlessness, and intelligence. There's a couple of Merlins on the call. I mean, transmission. Where are you? I forgot your name. What's your name from transmission? What's his name, Kyla?
Well, I think you gave a huge compliment to everyone. I mean, in saying that they are just like the companies that you're seeing in the Silicon Valley or seeing maybe, across the country or across the globe. I mean, that is I don't want to gloss over that. That is a huge compliment, and it's a huge testament to the work that they put in to get to tonight. And I want to piggyback on that. So obviously, they're off to a great start. They get it. They know that we need to have a green environment. We need to be sustainable. What would you say to the person who is watching in the audience who maybe hasn't been as sold or who hasn't done the work yet? Why is it so important, and why is it so urgent for all of us, no matter who we are and no matter what we do and no matter where we are, that we get on board with this and we act fast and we take bold steps?
No, so bold is the key word, right? Who wants to live a life in some form of incremental? Like, this is a chance for you to find your independence. This is a chance to do a startup focused on good. What that does for you as a person, it unlocks you as the whole person. When your target points and your roadmapper for your product, all that's important. But when I watched Brandon you know, be the keeper. I added on to be the keeper of life. There's Brandon with all his energy. He's unlocking. Brandon's running a company. It's where life begins. I was thinking of the deltas where freshwater and saltwater live, and fish are born and species arrive, and Brandon's pollinating. And Brandon, go to the ray.org and take a look at what we did last year. We didn't know shit, but we put a pollinator garden in underneath our solar farm, and the farmers for 15 miles are coming up and kissing us for a month of Sundays because they said we've changed the whole farm cycle in the area. I had no idea. It's amazing. So Brandon, you are where life begins. So good on you. Cincinnati Recycling. Reuse is key. Landfill diversion. Waste to wonder. Awesome. Like how many builders could have a shot to go into that? And it's critical that they invest. And when she was asking for a space, all these malls that are failing, the fact that retail is going to change, not just because of Amazon, but because, you know, we're going to see some big outcomes from COVID. And this is a good chance to take and repurpose that mall. Last mile food. Wow. All I can say is you guys are unlocking the value of food and naturally grown. Oh, so many notes. But Kai, know your customer. Customize that order. If I were to be your customer, I'd want to opt in and hand you my DNA so you could grow my food. I would want to feel like at any given moment in time, I think, oh my God, my food's being grown. I own a piece of that farm. Kai's my partner. You guys aren't just growing food for just anybody. You're growing food that has great potential and intention for individuals. So all of you go digital. All of you think about interoperability of your farms and your products up in the cloud. Think about the dirt and the farm and where you get your hands dirty. That's it. But where you're gonna make bank is on the information side by closing the gap between me at my age with this health condition and that health condition. And if you can help me sleep an hour longer because you increased my kale and you did this and you did that because you took your app and landed something personal on top of your farming platform, that's going to unlock the world for you. So go after health and wellness. Go after that as the upgrade in life and go. Get to the cloud. Health for me. Let's see what else. Transmission. So Olivier, listen, I did the greening of a bunch of shows, LinkedIn's tour, the Live Earth events, and just a month before COVID, I was meeting with Coldplay's management to become the sustainability advisor for the largest tour in the world, which was Coldplay's 5-year tour with a 1 year off, all over the world. Huge, massive event, and 200 million people would have seen the show. We had really big ideas. We got crushed. And all the questions around venues coming back, they're not. You can expect big changes in travel, big changes in hotels, big changes in how we gather, how we meet. The trust and the confidence is broken. And it's going to be a year or two, but this is your chance to jump in. This is your chance to go to CVG and talk to Brian and Nisham about how we can change the whole concept of travel in the airport. Every one of you has something important to contribute. And I want to, in talking about CVG took the rear view mirror out of all the airports that I work with all over the world, the Middle East, here in the US, some really big airports, some of the biggest in the world. The most pivotal one for me is Cincinnati. So if you guys want some inspiration, and if you want some idea of how you become a disruptor, right from where you stand every day when you get going, go meet Brian, go meet Nisham and see what's going on. Let me tell you some of the stuff we're doing there that's gonna matter to you too. So what would you say if John Picard says that Cincinnati Airport's gonna install batteries in the next year that will unlock wind and solar? Batteries made with a nanomaterial called graphene. And when these batteries arrive and they have the power density to unlock wind and solar, it is a game changer. And when we can grow this graphene, much the way you guys are a farming community, everything today was pretty much agriculture. Well, guess what? We can make reactors and grow materials, nanomaterials that are going to change the world. Can we make water from the air? Can we take air and make energy from the air? All of these things are being looked at. sensors, stored energy, AI, machine learning, interoperability in the cloud. Every one of you needs to focus on the cloud and interoperability of your farms and all these systems. Every one of you needs to know that AI is what's going to save us. You want to know why? Because it's software that learns, and it learns, and it learns, and it can see things that humans can't. And at 7 billion people, we have done everything to crush life on this planet. We are so far beyond the carrying capacity of the planet, it's not even funny. And to get where, so ask me what I'm going to do with the rest of the time I have with my life. I'm going to try to get humanity to be net positive with the planet. Every one of you is doing that. And that's what was amazing about these pitches tonight. You guys are all on an extraordinary path of doing good. You're going to do well by doing good. Some of you could do better branding. Some of you need to find out all of you need to improve your benefit list, the impact that you'll have. Look forward, look a year or two out. Dream big, guys. Go big. Don't think about just Cincinnati. Think about the fact that you'll unlock the value of something at that tiny moment. And the minute that software mentality or that app or that cloud, you'll make money in the cloud, but you'll cause a massive reaction in the world. So focus on those things. Wellness is the upgrade. Health and wellness. That's it. We're not just heading towards sustainability now. We're heading to where we need to go towards longevity. And longevity means all of us, you, me, the Silicon Valley, everyone. There's no gender barrier here. There's no age, there's no color, there's nothing, there's no gravity. We all have to spend the rest of our lives protecting life. We have to make it a business to take care of the planet and ourselves. Climate is a natural law. It's nothing more. And when the ocean temperature changes and the pH level dips and the pumping cycle slows down, we're done. And I married late and I have a 10-year-old daughter. Her name's Naomi. And I am not about to give up on her and her kids and her kids' kids. This is generational. So I want to inspire you with one thing. You can be heroes from where you are. And I felt it in every one of you today. So you've got to be aggressive like this. You've got to walk into a room and you know that 5 or 6 people aren't going to like you because you're just not going to, sit there and go through the motions. And there's a convergence today going on. Convergence is my keynote speech. When you ask me to come speak for you, I'm going to speak about the convergence of innovation and sustainability, the impact of digital efficiency and nature coming together. I want to write a software engine that unlocks the genome value of nature, your farms. I want people to see a farm, to see something that you grew and be able to take their phone and look at it and take a picture of it and have the value come roaring up, because what's missing is we haven't unlocked the value of anything we've grown. We've never paid the true price for anything, not a piece of wood, not a gallon of gas, nothing. We've never paid the natural systems approach. The fact you guys have your hands in the dirt and you can bring the digital efficiencies into that, you can start to create the value of soil, the value of water, the value of life-giving forces feeding us. And we can build that software engine. Cincinnati could be known for everything if you want it to be. And when I saw all these startups, when I looked at this list and took these notes, I was like, God, these guys are pretty similar. They're all pretty much the same, but you're not. And
John,
yeah. Are we out of time?
Phenomenal things there, and we have about 4 minutes left. And
okay.
Of course, all of us we could listen.
You got
and
questions.
There were 2 quick things I wanted to just kind of, thread together. So we talked about the importance of understanding that AI is the next wave. AI is going to take over, but also that we do have to be super hyper focused on the sustainability. And how does the AI, overlap with agriculture, which a lot of our startups were talking about today? So what is that future system look like?
We need to put sensors in where we're growing food. We need to know that we have to have the intelligence of every drop of water. We got to be able to see the data points on a leaf and the color and the soil. It's all about data. It's all about the information cycle to produce more and without any waste. So it's critical that all of you in the food business become really big in the software services, and your income streams on the software side are going to be 100x of what you do every day. Just that's what's going to happen. It's either going to be you or somebody else coming in to do that for you. And that's the situation, Kyla. This world I'm talking about, it's either happening to you or it's happening for you. And when you choose to go into a forward direction, you all need to learn how to look around the corner. You all need to learn how to create a journey map for your product, for your company, for your people, for yourself in the city. You need to see how you fit into Cincinnati. You need to see how you fit into the globe. And you need to forward position yourselves and do that over and over and over, because that will prepare you for the future. And when you look back, you don't want to be built on the present, and definitely don't want to engineer on based on the past. Look, we're out of a tough 4 years. We're into a new election. We've got vaccines coming. That's my Christmas present. I thought I might not make it with things going the way they are. I got a lot of work to do, but you guys are just getting started. So be fearless, be aggressive, go out and ask for stuff. Walk right in and get right to the point. Just say, I'm important. My company matters. My products could help people. I need money. I need this building. The people at the top who've already made it, they are expecting someone to hang onto their ankle like a pit bull. They respect tenacity. So be aggressive and be humble and keep doing the good work you're doing.
That's a perfect segue, John, to our final question, just in your final thoughts on the importance of us having this type of platform, type of event for Flywheel to say, no, we're going to do a cohort that is specifically focused on sustainability, and also for sponsors to step up and support this type of event. So speaking broadly to the community, in Cincinnati and beyond, how important is it for us to continue to have these types of platforms, have these types of competitions, and to step up from the corporate side and nonprofit side in supporting these efforts in our communities?
No, it puts you on the map. It's an engine. The whole movement around the creative cycle is what's key here. It's all about that creative design function, your big ideas, and supporting each other. You guys can build a powerful engine from this group that you have today. You really can. I'm going to invite all of you out to the Silicon Valley. We'll go to 10 or 15 companies. You'll see what it's like. You'll meet people. This is their 5th company. They lost everything, and they're about to go for a ride in the $100 million mark. It's not, and that's not it, but the culture there, we can bring a piece of that back. That's what I hope I can do. And it exists at CVG already. So go take a meeting with the guys out at the airport. They're there. They are there and beyond. I got to tell you that. I only say that because every other city I go to, there's a little bit of a void. So there it is.
That is so perfect, John. Thank you so much. So just a couple
Kyla,
things. You're going to bring us all out to Silicon Valley so that we can take some tours and meet people. Everybody, we're holding him to that. And second, everyone, startup founders, make sure you do reach out to CVG, check into that work, see what they're doing, tell them John Picard sent you, and make sure you make that.
No, don't do that.
No,
don't tell Brian and listen. No, tell him, just say you're going to fly later and you want a tour. But listen, you guys, the companies who I didn't get a chance to talk to, here's my phone number, 650-690-1234. Don't email me, text me, put your name in there. I will call you back. I will scan my notes for your companies and I will forward all of that to you. And there won't be an invoice attached. And so go get them, you guys. Listen, we are in a tough time right now, but this is where you get to be the arc of change. This is you're young. You have all the bicep muscle, all the heart. Take your head and your heart and line it up and go after it. That's what this country is known for. We are discoverers. We are explorers. We are moonshot thinkers, looking for moonshots. Who would ever think that there's moonshot thinking to be done on the farm? There is. And Kai, you're my astronaut for the day. You rock. Left LA, went to Alabama. Woo! Good on you. So, Anyway,
you so much,
thank
John.
you guys.
One
Thanks,
of a
Bill.
kind offer there. He gave you his phone number. He's going to send you his notes. That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
And
because
so great.
we need like 2 hours. And
We
look,
do.
I'm there to help. I love Cincinnati, and I want to help you guys. And a couple of you, I'd write the check. So let's follow up.
Well, I think they will follow up if they're smart, which they are. Okay, thank you all so much for your time. Thank you, John, for being our incredible guest today. Congratulations again to everyone who gave your pitch today. And I'll turn it over now to Executive Director of Flywheel, Bill Tucker. Bill, thank you.
Hey, y'all. Here we are at Union Hall getting ready to wrap this up. We've said a lot of thank yous. I'll just asterisk every one of those. And thank you, John, for being here.
Sure.
It's been exciting figuring out these awards. And so I'm going to turn it over. I want to introduce, I guess you could say, Sunny Parr of Kroger's Zero Hunger, Zero Waste Foundation. Sunny has been a great friend in this community and is a real innovator. So Sunny is going to share the awards. So Josie, why don't you click to the next slide and Sunny will share the audience choice.
Hey, thanks, Bill. Good evening, everyone. I'm so honored to stand in front of you representing the Kroger Co. Zero Hunger, Zero Waste Foundation to announce the winners of SustainableCincy 2020. In the spirit of collaboration, this program represents a collective of organizations who are committed to a shared goal to help solve for a better planet and healthier communities. And it's been truly inspiring. 3 years ago, Kroger announced a bold commitment to help end hunger in the communities that we call home and eliminate waste across our company by 2025. The commitment is called Zero Hunger, Zero Waste. It's our moonshot. And the mission of Zero Hunger, Zero Waste Foundation is to help create communities free of hunger and waste through collective action and innovation. We know that a world with zero hunger and zero waste must be created by and for all of us. I really love how I never left my home here in Northern Kentucky, but I felt like I took this like world tour led by you all this evening. And I was so impressed by not only the pitches and the founders and the innovations that were brought forth, but it is clear to see all of the hard work that you did behind the scenes to get to this moment. And I'd be remiss if I did not state my gratitude for Flywheel's leadership and Bill and Josie for their infectious energy and dedication to the Social Enterprise Network in our hometown. So let's get to the awards. I always love to do a Zoom drum roll. The first award is actually the Audience Choice Award, as voted on by the audience. Receiving a $1,000 grant is Naturally Homegrown. Congratulations. Next, our Peer Choice Award, who will receive $1,000, is Last Mile Food Rescue. Now we get to kind of the meat of the judges' deliberation, which was super engaging. I think overall, you all should know that like we were incredibly impressed as a collective group. Let me just get to the winners, okay? Third place was actually a tie, and both will actually be receiving a $3,500 award. The first winner of third place is the Our Harvest Co-op. Yay! Congratulations. And the second third place tie winner is Swarm. Fantastic leaders that we got to speak and listen to and kind of learn your journey throughout this whole process. So thank you. The second place award receiving a $5,000 grant is actually Last Mile Food Rescue again. So they won the Pure Choice Award as well as second place Judges Award. Congratulations, Last Mile team. Now brings us to our first place award winner, and receiving $6,000 is Be the Keeper. Yay! Congratulations. Because the Zero Hunger, Zero Waste Foundation was so impressed with each of you, as well as all the judges. And John from Centrifuge and I want all of you to be successful in helping to lift up our hometown community. We added $1,000 to the pot, and we want to celebrate each and every one of you as founders, and we want you to keep going after Flywheel and the Sustainable Cincy 2020 workshop. So all of the founders not receiving an award tonight will also receive a $1,500 grant on behalf of the Zero Hunger, Zero Waste Foundation. Many, many, many congratulations to all of you who are involved. I know this is only the beginning, and I cannot wait to keep watching you. And now I get to hand it back to Bill.
Okay, thanks very much, Sunny. And thank you very much for sweetening the pot. Dramatically increased the prizes. Over $34,000 in prizes were awarded tonight. That is amazing. So thank you very much for that. I also wanted to I'm sorry, $24,000. I overstated that. Sorry, $24,000. No, 34. I had it right the first time. $34,000 total. Okay, so the guy behind the screen, the wizard of everything that's taken place, is my good friend Michael Conger. And I wanted to give it up for Michael for a second. First of all, a big round of applause for him. And let him talk about something that's really important in this ecosystem. It takes a village to lift up all these social impact initiatives. And Michael's got a great one to talk about coming up soon.
Great. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Bill. I'm Michael Conger. I'm one of the faculty at the Altman Institute for Entrepreneurship and the Center for Social Entrepreneurship at Miami University. So Miami's social entrepreneurship was actually a founding partner way back when Flywheel started, and we've been working together closely for over a decade now. That includes countless pitch events like this one, student projects, placing over 100 Miami entrepreneurship students in social ventures and nonprofits as interns. Many of those were interns at Flywheel, including at one point Miami alumna Josie Dalton. And just over a year ago, Miami and Flywheel launched an impact investment fund with an initial investment pool of $150,000. It's the first fund of its kind, managed exclusively by undergraduate students. And this fund is invested in a portfolio of social ventures, including a $50,000 investment in Flywheel elevator startup Moxie Girl, and provided due diligence for Moxie Girl, leading to $75,000 of additional investment from Cincy ecosystem members Connectic and NECO. And Bill Tucker joined us as one of Miami's entrepreneurs in residence starting this fall. So we're really happy to have Bill doing that. But actually, I'm not here to talk about any of those things. Instead, I would like to let you all know about Miami Entrepreneurship's 4th annual Social Innovation Weekend that we will hold, as always, in partnership with Flywheel the weekend of March 5th through 7th. So Social Innovation Weekend is a hackathon-style event bringing together over 150 college students, 25 academic programs across our campus, and professionals from over 80 startups, nonprofits, and agencies from the Startup Cincy ecosystem and beyond. In the past few years, we focused on infant mortality, addiction, and last year, food insecurity. And this year, we are excited to focus on homelessness and affordable housing in the Cincinnati region and around the world. So, if housing is part of the work that you do, or you just want to find out more about what we're doing and how you could be a part of it, please check out our website, socialinnovationweekend.com, and connect with us. And on behalf of Miami Entrepreneurship, congratulations to all the companies who pitched tonight. Great, great job. We're proud of you. Thanks for letting us be a part of this event. Thanks to Bill, Josie, Navia, and all the partner organizations that made tonight possible. It's great to see so much excitement from making Cincinnati a hub for making real change and for building a more sustainable world. So let's keep at it, keep working together. And on behalf of Flywheel, thank you for being here and good night.